Last major topic here, going into the news is, and it falls in line with everything else we've been talking about, which is looking at Game Pass as a service, and where PlayStation is at currently, PlayStation Now as a service, and comparing Game Pass to, say, things like Stadia, or EA Play, and whether or not this makes a good buy for not just Xbox owners, but potentially owners beyond that. I think Microsoft has taken an approach with Game Pass that has allowed them to put the force of Microsoft behind trying to create a service that will rival things like Netflix. I think Microsoft has looked at this and said, we can, in aggregate, start attracting people away from all those platforms and probably create a service that, could get 100 million subscribers, 200 million subscribers, if that platform is not very restrictive. And in so doing, they've been able to get partnerships with EA Play, which allows you to totally ignore having to buy EA's Play service entirely and get all that same value in the Game Pass platform alone. And you also have Xbox pledging to bring all of their first-party titles to Game Pass day and date. And then during their E3 conference, they showed all the games that they've managed to, third-party games they've managed to convince to release on Game Pass on day one. So as a whole, it is probably the most well-developed streaming platform. You look at Stadia, and Stadia only has limited deals made with like Ubisoft and larger publishers. They no longer have internal studios, so you can only get what third-party publishers are willing to put on there. Granted, they are able to stream at a 4K, which Xbox Cloud Gaming has not yet achieved. It's still at, I think 1080p is the max resolution, 30 frames per second. If you look at things like PlayStation Now, although is probably very similar in the way it functions to Game Pass, it still only deals with back catalog items. So you get a lot of PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4 games, but PlayStation 4 games long after they've been released. So looking at value for value, Microsoft has this very compelling thing where it's $15 a month, allows you to get cloud access, Game Pass access, EA Play, and you get this huge, robust catalog. You can pay even less. As an Xbox gamer, you're able to download, I think, almost all these titles and able to play them. So if you own an Xbox, I cannot imagine a service that you would pay for other than Game Pass. Game Pass as a whole almost invalidates your need to even purchase titles. And I know there's news reports out that are saying like people are purchasing titles at greater rates than they had before, which is a little perplexing. But Game Pass as a platform right now sort of negates the need to really purchase titles at all. And the more casual gamer not owning and just plunking down $15 or $10 a month to gain access to any sort of Xbox content is really a value that is unmatched by anything else. So the real question, I guess, at this point is like, as a non-Xbox owner, is Game Pass worth it? And this is where I think things get a bit more interesting, because Game Pass as a service, assuming you have a good enough internet connection, with cloud being xCloud or Xbox Cloud Gaming being part of the service broader now, it pretty much allows anybody to purchase Game Pass and play Xbox exclusives, EA titles, whatever else, without having to bother with owning any piece of hardware beyond like a cell phone or tablet that you may already own, or even at this point, laptop, PC, Mac, whatever, it doesn't matter. The only thing is that as of right now, the way Game Pass has implemented cloud gaming, it's still a little wonky, and it still will give you a subpar experience. It still will only display at 1080p. at 30 frames a second, it's not giving you the best experience. So for those hardcore gamers or people who are used to console gaming and want like the best quality image, best quality gaming experience, it's not ideal. Mobile gaming, it's still quite difficult because it's still very much data intensive. So, unless you have the best, data plan in the world on your cell phone, playing on the go is going to be expensive for most people. And not only that, within the United States, most cellular networks will not maintain a bandwidth strong enough, long enough for gaming to be viable on a mobile network. If you own an Xbox, Game Pass is a must-have. If you own no Xbox at all, it still seems to be a wait and see. I'm still trying it out on an iPad to gain access to a handful of Xbox titles that I feel I don't need to buy a $500 piece of hardware for. But I think for like the more casual gamers, it's still kind of a hard sell. It's still kind of a wonky system. And there still are quite a few prerequisites necessary in order to get the best gaming experience out of it. And for that, I'd say maybe a wait and see on Game Pass. But I think Microsoft is still going to be pursuing making Game Pass a broader platform that should be available to anybody with or without an Xbox console.